is August 7th. I stayed up yesterday trying to just finish up some of the... I still have time. Just kidding, no I don't. I only have until... So the videos I mentioned, I fell behind. And so I stayed up trying to prepare the next chapters. And it's getting to the part where I don't even remember. Oh, it's the start of this new school year. And at the end of the next chapter is when I have the nightmare regarding the person who molested me when I was younger. And so I was just listening to that and realizing that in that chapter, it's been in my mind today. It's been on my mind just because I've been reflecting on my ex and just the whole divorce and so one of the videos so it will be because I haven't put it together. Chapter 53, episode 3, reassuring myself that my ex and I both settled. So that's what I spent yesterday doing, was just naming the chapters and the episodes. And so the way I do it is, you know, I listen to it, I try to pick out keywords from that content, and then I give sample, like at the verse view, it's like I give a few potential titles, and then I listen to the rest, and then it somehow ends up like, oh, okay, I'm able to pick it up even faster before even listening to the other videos. So there's, like, I just need the first view to get a theme going, and then it gets highlighted in all of the other videos. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how how that happens, but it does. So the theme was reassuring is the title for the next chapter. But that particular episode, I guess I have a dream about my ex and his family, and as I'm listening to myself talk, I didn't know it then, I didn't realize it then, I'm sharing the story about how honestly I don't even remember it was that one, because there's a few where I'm still talking about my ex. Oh, the wedding story, that's chapter 6, episode 6, reassuring people that we are energetic beings, and I put hashtag wedding story. Okay, so it was just accumulation of listening to all of those that I realized, I mean, I knew that my ex, you know, I wasn't like, it wasn't love at first sight. It wasn't. And it just rehashing the awareness that it was his aunt that kind of planted the seed in his head to consider me as a potential, right? A potential mate. And that it wasn't until that happened, right? So again, it speaks to, it wasn't love at first sight. He was told what to think, or kind of nudged to, like, and so I had that words, I'm like, okay. And I remember kind of being caught by that story that he shared with me. He doesn't remember it, but I remember being shocked, but at the same time not shocked, because it kind of reassured me that I'm like, okay, so it wasn't just my phone. That it wasn't just me that was settling. That's the realization that I had yesterday. I'm just like, and this morning I'm like, he settled. And the reason why I want to record it is because not everybody reads my write-up after the video. in case you're watching, my ex, this is for my ex, you settled with me too, and I didn't realize it until I came across those videos and listening to myself in accumulation, right? All the similar videos, and then as I'm titling it, I decided to title it Reassuring Myself That My Ex and I Both Settled. And I was just like, oh my God, we both settled. And the reason why you settled, if you're watching this, is because you knew that I didn't want to get married. You knew that I wasn't really gung-ho about having children so young, and yet you chose to stay. You had the desire to be a young parent, and yet you settled with my wounded self then, right? I mean, we didn't know we were wounded, but you settled. You settled for what I was willing to give you. And that's probably why you're pissed. On top of, clearly, right? The projection, and it dawned on me too, like just still reflecting on the dreams that I've had of Jose, this person from my past, and how he continuously kept highlighting in my dreams. Well, I mean, clearly it was all for healing, but the most recent one where I'm angry at him, you if you're watching, that I'm angry at you for judging me, and kind of like you were checking me out at the bar, and very like I was just so pissed off. I was so pissed off. I was so angry at you because you were judging me. You were eyeing me, and then it was because I had my hairy legs because I'm embracing more of my hair, and I remember just being pissed off that you were judging me because I let my hair grow out, and realizing later I'm just like, well, I'm judging myself, right? Like I'm working on embracing that part of myself more publicly, and you were just calling me out on it in my dream. So again, it's just continued validation, right? That we are all mirrors to each other, and that we reflect to each other to some degree something about us that we don't like. And just thinking about my ex, and how I know he's probably still angry at me, and when really, right, he's angry at himself for settling when he knew what he wanted, and that was the reason why we broke up a lot, was because I couldn't give him what he wanted, and at that point I remember telling him, I feel like I'm holding you back because you know what you want, and I'm not there. Like I'm not there, and it's not something that I'm wanting at that time in my life. So there's almost this reassurance for me in terms of part of my healing, right? Of just again, just the mirroring, I guess, is what continues to be highlighted. And I don't know if he knows that. I don't know if you know that, if you're watching this, that you settled when you decided to marry me too. That's all. It was just that awareness that both he and I settled, and I titled it yesterday. I was just like, it didn't, I don't say it in that video, but it didn't dawn on me until I titled it yesterday, and I was just been chewing on it for a bit. That realization that he settled too. For that version of me, he settled. But then, and then, but it's also that concept of like, you don't have to leave the relationship if you don't want to. There are people, who don't leave relationships, and what they do is they shift their attention elsewhere, right? And then eventually the other person catches up. And I remember asking him once, why did you stay with me? Or what was it? Like, why did you stay with me? Oh, that's what it was. Why did you stay with me if, we weren't going to have children or something like that? And then I just remember him saying, well, you changed your mind about getting married. I just hope that one day you would have changed your mind about having children. But that was his choice, right? That was his choice. He didn't have to, but he chose that for himself. So, choices. Anyways, need to call my friend back. That was him. I was gonna get ready to do other stuff, but I think he's ready for my chat. Right. It's still August 7th. I'll probably group this one up with the previous video. Just finished talking to my friend, and it was nice to catch up. Didn't realize it'd been a while, and I was just rehashing like any of the big life events over the past 8 months, and so I was telling him how, like, I was just like, it was just coming out, right? And so I mentioned to him how this last fire sign, how I got triggered, and what I shared with him about the realization that I had that he hadn't watched the videos, and how I had left him a message saying, you know, I was busy too. I was going to school part-time and work full-time at that point, and how even though I was busy, I still made the time to, you know, log into where he was speaking, to look at his posts, to read his work, to see what he was up to. I made the time because that's how interested I was in him. And so at that point, my friend says, wait a minute. So what you're saying is, because at this point I already told my friend about like all those dreams that I had, and if I'm entertaining the idea that, you know, I'm going to take over the presidency or something, or have something, right, of power, or if I'm entertaining the idea, right, that I'm showing people the way for them to really find their own way. Really, it's what it comes down to. And so he's just like, so I'm told him, you know, I shared those dreams, and so he's like, wait a minute. So the person that, you know, you're going to choose has watched all your videos. I said, yeah, pretty much. And so then I said to him, I said, you got to remember, I came from a relationship where I was not being seen. I was not being heard. And I'm like, and I'm not going to settle. Like, I'm just not. I will be seen and I will be heard. And so, not to the point where I'm forcing it on people. It's like, but the person who I choose will be in alignment with me, will understand how I see the world, right? And I told him, I said, it's outlined in my videos. Like, I leave little breadcrumbs. Like, it's because I'm picking up the breadcrumbs and I'm breaking them down, right, for my own guidance. And so I told him, I said, all the answers are there. All of the answers are there for those who choose to listen. And if you're not willing to listen, move aside. You know? So he's like, so is that what you're going to look for when you date? And it's like, I'm like, I'm not going to date. He's like, you're not going to date. And he's like, it's going to come to you. And I said, yeah, it's going to come to me. I don't have to worry about it. I have my little, you know, like, I got my guidance. I got my guidance. So, but it just, you know, that realization that I'm just like, I'm not going to settle. And, you know, I mentioned it before that, and I didn't say this to him, but just reminding myself, I'm like, this is my work. This is my art, right? My words are my art. My soul is my art. My heart is my heart. My art. My heart is my art. Because that's what passion is, right? That's where it comes from. It comes from your heart. And trusting your heart. Trusting your heart. Yeah. So, that's what I told him. So he was updating me on what he was doing, and yeah. So yeah, not necessarily that we have to be in complete alignment, but enough to work towards the same goal, right? It can't just be anybody for me. So he asked me too. He's like, so you're not gonna engage in any like sexual activity until you find your one? I'm like, pretty much. Like I think the big part of that is just, and I told him, I said, I jumped in too quickly. That was one of my lessons. So I'm gonna hold back on those goods. I'm gonna hold back on those goods. My goodies. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, right? Time will tell. But, so it's funny because when we were done talking, it was 3:33. It's 4:44 right now. All right, that's it. I'll add this to the other one because I have stuff I need. P.S. And I just wanted to clarify that just because you watch my videos doesn't necessarily mean you have to get it, right? Because they are breadcrumbs. It's vague. It's you know, you're not knowing where you're headed into. The difference will be for me, right? When I come across the person that I'm considering, is not so much that they get it just like that. It's that they're willing to listen and that they're willing to learn, right? Which means they're willing to ask questions. They're willing to be engaged. And not so much from me. That's the biggest factor that I forgot to include, is that they're not doing it for me. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for themselves because they want to be in alignment with who they are. There's a difference. There's a difference. And that's what I'll be looking out for. Someone who's willing to do the work, to listen, but not that they get it, right? Or that they're super smart. I mean, I'm not super smart, so but I ask questions when I don't know. I am vulnerable. I'm vulnerable, and I put myself out there. For me, really, because I want to learn. So the person, right, that is for me will get that and will be okay with that for themselves too. That they want to learn. They're okay with not getting all of it and just asking questions, right? Like I have my clients, the ones that are following my story, and they ask questions. They ask questions, they're curious, you know? That's what I appreciate. It's the process. The process. Yeah. Hey you, my name is Yubi and I use she, they pronouns, and you've just finished watching a clip from my video diary entries where I'm documenting my healing journey as I learn how to navigate my spiritual awakening. I have learned that this experience and process is unique to each and every one of us in whatever way we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of formal mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself as these experiences unfold, and really inviting you along for the ride. Please know that there is a time gap between when these videos post and my real timeline, and also that these clips build upon each other similar to chapters in a book. So if you find yourself lost or confused, feel free to click on the playlist section or the link below, where you can jump around, check out the other chapters, and or catch up. Also, please know that you're more than welcome to check out my website, www.youbecominghealed.com, where I've gathered all of this information, my background, experience, and education to create online self-paced courses to help you on your healing journey wherever you are. You're also more than welcome to check out my other YouTube channel at You Becoming Healed, where I've entertained a podcast, including clips from these courses so that I can make this content accessible to more and more people. Please click like, subscribe, and share this content so again it reaches more people, with the hopes that other people will resonate and connect with the healing journey and the stories shared so that they don't feel alone in their own process. I thank you in advance. I'm grateful to you, and I wish you well.